This week on Bear News, the university is looking to the sky to bring us new light as the school unveiled new solar panels on campus.
And if you're growing a bit weary of the year 2019 and want to travel back in time to the 1950s, go ahead and grab a pop while you're there.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Gavin Burlack.
And I'm Ben Shoemate.
Students and faculty gathered Friday afternoon for the unveiling of UNC's solar panels. The solar panels are located on the roof of Parsons Hall near Jackson Field, and they take up the majority of the roof. The new solar panels will generate 4.7 million kilowatts of electricity, and that will save the university an estimated $176,500 over the expected life of the system. The energy generated could power more than 425 homes a year. UNC's Student Leaf Club says that it's just the beginning of a more sustainable campus.
Last week was a busy one for UNC students and faculty, one that included new art exhibits, festivals, and as my co-anchor Gavin Burlack tells us, something very, very unusual.
Last Wednesday was like any other until you saw the Medivac helicopter parked between Candelaria and McKee. No, this wasn't a mistake or a prank, but a highlight in UNC's 2019 Health and Safety Festival. Students got resources for mental health, counseling, and safety assurance. While it was educational, no festival is complete without fun games and trivia. Senior marketing major Nick Bridges said he learned some new facts through the festival.
I actually learned a lot about our, public water and, how they filter out, all the bad stuff that goes in our storm drains. So that was actually pretty interesting.
There were stands for community safety systems like the Greeley Fire and Police Departments, railroad safety, and a paramedic team. With that, UNC provided booths for campus resources that are available and free to active students. UNC Counseling Center doctoral intern Hannah Paul was excited to talk about the program.
Yeah, so really we just want to be there for support. Different students go through different things, whether it's at school or off school, off campus. Really just to be there for any types of mental health problems that someone wants to come get support or help with. But really it's just kind of becoming a really safe, confidential place for students to come and talk to us.
A highlight of the Health and Safety Festival here at UNC is the UC Health Blood Mobile, where students are able to donate blood here right on campus. With snacks and a Band-Aid, donors are sent on their way to learn about the rest of the festival. If you want to donate blood, feel free to call the number on the screen and they will set you up with an appointment.
Looked like there were a ton of people there. What were you telling me earlier about a paramedic, Gavin?
Oh, I talked with a paramedic towards the end of the event and I asked her what she loved most about the job. My favorite quote by far was her response, "The amount of stress I face is inescapable, so I have to just like it." And I just think that is the perfect way to sum up this past week.
Awesome. Greeley voters have a lot of candidates, plus a ballot measure to sift through in this November's municipal election. 14 candidates wanted voters to choose them to fill 5 elective offices in the city, plus 7 candidates filed to run for 4 available School District 6 board seats. This week, we take a look at the candidates running for Greeley city offices. Mayor John Gates wants another term as the city's chief executive. He ran 2 years ago to replace term-limited Mayor Tom Norton. His opponent was relatively unknown John Scholl. In Ward Race 1, political newcomer Blythe Driver faces Democratic Party official Tommy Butler. That ward covers much of the north and east Greeley. It's shaded in the yellow-green on the map below. In the Ward 4 race, incumbent Dale Hall faces political newcomer Jim Rohr and Democratic Party Communication Director Michael Whitcomb. Ward 4 covers most of Greeley's northern part of north of 20th Street at least, and west of 35th Avenue. It's shaded in purple on the map. 7 candidates are seeking the 2 available at-large seats. Incumbent Stacy Suniga wants another term, and the council appointed her to fill the seat vacated when Eddie Myrick was disqualified after being elected at the 2-year at-large position due to a previous felony. Myrick is back for another try at the at-large position after successfully having the felony conviction against him reduced to just a misdemeanor. They face Patrick Wardell, Joseph Bodine, Ronnie Lopez, former Mayor Ed Clark, and Kristen Zazada. The candidate who received the most votes in the at-large race will fill a 4-year term, while the second-place finisher will open the 2-year term. Next week, we will take a look at the race for the 4 open seats on the District 6 school board, as well as take a look at ballot measures in the local voters will face.
After a bias-based attack on UNC campus Spectrum, an organization that celebrates students of sexual, romantic, and gender minorities, invited the campus community to wear purple in support. Bear News went out on campus to ask students what they thought about it.
I actually got an email about it from the president, and then I think I also got an email from the communication department as well.
Anytime that you create like a unifying front for something that's problematic or sort of hateful like this,
There's no outro.
it's more successful in its message that it's there's no tolerance for it.
Students not wearing purple or sporting a ribbon found other ways to participate.
I had to work this morning and don't own any purple shirts that are also my company shirt, but I found a pin so I could still represent.
The event resonated with some allies on a personal level.
I got members of my family who are that, I guess, like group of people. I'm personally not, but because they are my family and because they are close to me, I thought might as well support who I love.
At times, we may feel divided, but as UNC students, we have at least one thing in common.
We're all here for different reasons, but we're still the Bear community, so we all got to represent and support each other the most we can.
An art exhibition with a full staff and food is no longer an abstract idea in the campus commons. It's now more of a realism.
And UNC's first home football game of the season was last Saturday and pulled out all the stops to make it a good one. Well, at least before the game started. More on that coming up. Zoe's Cafe opened its doors Thursday to Jobs of Hope. What's that, you might ask? Well, Jobs of Hope is an organization that helps young men who have been incarcerated to find jobs. Jazz Cohen organized the banquet at Zoe's Cafe to honor and celebrate these young men. They also honored the people involved with the organization. In addition, they had a silent auction from 5 to 6 to help raise money for Jobs of Hope. But the real heroes at this banquet were the hardworking men who graduated from the Jobs of Hope program.
Red light fills the space as folks are welcomed by piles and piles of dirt and rocks. No, it's not a trip to Mars. UNC unveiled its newest art exhibit this week and welcomed community members as well as students and faculty. Yucca Fountain draws gallery viewers into a realist take on 1950s atomic-era soda fountain in artwork by Boston-based artists Helen Pop in chalk and Andrew Bablow. What makes this installation different than its ancestors at UNC is that it came with a fully functioning staff and sit-down restaurant where guests could order cheap hot dogs, pretzels, coffee, and more. For those who wanted to get a hot dog for 25 cents, well, they only provided food and drink during the reception, and all proceeds went to Bear Pantry. But even though you can't get a hot dog, you can still visit Yucca Fountain at Campus Commons at UNC with showings from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. on Saturdays.
UNC played this first season's first home football game Saturday, and as my co-anchor Gavin Burlack tells us, that means getting together and showing some Bear pride.
Bears, Brews, and Bites. That's how UNC kicked off its first home football game against South Dakota last Saturday. What is normally the student parking lot became a designated tailgate area full of games and grills. This was the first year for UNC's Brewing Lab Science program to organize and run the event. While proceeds from the brew tasting went to the program, students and alumni also got to showcase what they've learned. Program success stories Heather Hines and Aaron Moynihan share what they've learned in the class.
Look at the front
Yeah,
one.
in the lab you did all kinds of things. We would look at yeast cell counts in a microscope. We would look at foam collapse rates.
I'm sorry, that's my fault.
We did microscale distillations of things. That was just in the lab.
Then there was a full 3 weeks on the brew deck actually brewing from start to finish, from milling to pouring a finished product, which was awesome.
And history.
And the history. Oh, that was a huge part of it.
The event offered brews from local distilleries such as Tower 56 and Eddie Line Brewery. Event organizer Sean Johnson has been a part of the program since it began, from being an undergrad to now being assistant brewer.
So I've always liked beer. And I always liked teaching when I was a graduate student. I would teach labs, and I loved the interaction that you got to have with students on a daily basis. Now you got to meet all these new people and teach them stuff and kind of see the amazement on their face. We really pride our program on, though we're Brewing Lab Science, we don't stick to just science. You have to have this hard science background, because the nice thing about beer is that no matter what you're studying or what you're passionate about, there's a place in the beer world for you.
Along with the brew tasting, the event had some live music from local bands, free food, and bear merchandise for sale. Everyone had their reason for attending, but junior business marketing major Micah Kramer couldn't have said it any better.
I mean, we get free food, you get friends and family. I don't know what's better than that.
The Brewing Lab Science program is actually looking to get a license for their brewery in Parsons Hall, meaning you could go and buy beer made on campus by your peers. Johnson said there is still a ways to go, but they're looking forward to it.
Do you have an interview coming up, or maybe a big presentation, but you just don't have any professional attire? Well, you're in luck. UNC students can now browse through clothes with the new professional attire closet on campus. Bear News reporter John Warner traveled to Kepner Hall to see if he could dress for success.
The Montfort College of Business has been helping their students succeed for more than over 50 years, and now going forward, Melissa Hoffman will do her best to help everyone as well.
So I put in a proposal to make a professional attire closet, and then it was approved.
Yeah, this part.
So then after
and
it
then.
was approved, it was kind of a matter of figuring out how we were going to go about this, and then really just where we were going to start.
In return, Hoffman started a clothing
two-shot.
drive and had an
On camera, too.
overwhelming amount of clothes, easily filling the closet.
There's an outro, but it's on the
who needed
two-shot.
the most.
Can you tell her it's on the two-shot? Can you tell her right now, like say,
It's
go
going
up
to come
to
up on
camera
two.
two.
I guarantee it. Just trust me on this.
And then they could take it home and keep
Yep.
Yeah.
Already serving more than over 30 students, Hoffman
Nope, we're
hopes to
coming up
see
on the
increases
two-shot, and then we're
Tell
doing
her,
the
tell her
two-shot.
right now that we're doing the
Professional
two-shot.
attire, and I was even able to pick an outfit out for myself, and I have to say, I look pretty snazzy.
Reporting from Kepner Hall, I'm John Warner, Bear News.
And if you need an outfit for such an occasion or emergency, you can book an appointment with Miss Hoffman. You can do that by calling her office or emailing her at melissa.hoffman@unco.edu.
The UNC football team and the South Dakota Coyotes put their 0-3 records on the line in the Bears' home opener.
Which means we finally know what happens when a stoppable force meets a movable object. Tanner Schwint has more on that when we return.
In football, the Bears went down with a fight in their first home game of the season, losing to South Dakota 14-6 at a full Nottingham field on Saturday. Determined to make up for last week's loss, the Bears threw their heart into the game, but lacked the finesse in the offense to pull together a win. It was largely a game of defense, with South Dakota squeezing in a touchdown in the second quarter. Northern Colorado answered in the third, but South Dakota kept ahead in the fourth, and UNC just couldn't keep up, in spite of some well-executed passes from the Bears. Passes thrown by Jacob Knipp, who returned from last week's injury to play. In spite of the loss, fans were happy to be back at Nottingham. Both coaches and players are optimistic that with a little work, maybe a lot of work, they'll pull themselves out of the 4-game losing streak and hook a win this season. The Bears' next game is at home this Saturday against the Idaho Vandals. Now, how about a tour of the state's professional teams? The Denver Broncos are not inspiring much confidence with their new head coach, and the quarterback situation seems to improve a little bit from last year. And the defense that has been highly touted in years past is yet to record a sack this season. Their next game is this Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Colorado Rockies have been disappointing after making the postseason the past 2 seasons and being favorites to possibly win the National League West this year. They are currently in a fight with the Padres for the last place spot in their division with just 4 games left. But what about the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche? While neither of the Pepsi Center dwellers have begun their regular season yet, both have reason to hope. The teams made it past the first round of the playoffs in their respective postseasons, and the teams start their seasons highly ranked in the preseason power ranking. With the Rockies a loss and the Denver Broncos heading that way, hold on to that optimism, the Nuggets or Avs will have to be where Colorado sports fans get their playoff fix this year. And in UNC volleyball, player Kaylee Jo Ince had a game to write home about in the team's matchup against Cal Poly. The only problem? The Bears lost. Ince put up 25 kills and 2 blocks against the Mustangs, a career high in kills for her. The team went the distance against Poly, winning the second and fourth sets, but dropped the last set and the match by 5. but this game was just one of 3 that the team played in the Homewood Suites UNC CSU Volleyball Classic. The Bears beat the Oregon State Beavers University 3-2 on the 19th. This game wasn't smooth sailing either, as the Bears were down 2-1 and had to win out to seal the victory. UNC's first game of the Classic was a bit of a tough one, as they lost 3-0 to in-state rival CSU. The Bears were outscored 30-56 by the Rams. After last weekend, the team currently sits at 6-6 and are 5th in the Big Sky Conference. The Bears' next game is tonight at 7 as they take on the University of Montana, and then they play Montana State on Saturday. You know, guys, that was not a very optimistic, a very positive sports report, let's be honest. I know, there's old superstitions, don't change your underwear when they win, don't wash your socks. It's crazy, I know. But Gavin, you have a couple of superstitions that maybe you need to start doing.
Oh yeah, everyone just needs to go back home, put their spoons inside their toilets, put ice cubes underneath their pillowcases, and hopefully we'll get something out of that. And that does it for our show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and of course, have a great week.